Initially, when I thought about doing some sort of intervention in the library, I wanted to take the books away. Angela Davis, second wave feminist, said that women's work is most visible when it's not done. So we notice women's work when they stop doing it. So I wanted to take the books away so that the space was disrupted. When it wasn't relying on those books that had come from women, then that construction of a gentleman's library in the 18th century just wouldn't work because there would be empty shelves. But there's all kinds of practical problems with that. So if the books have to stay, then we had to come up with a way of differentiating a proportion of them. And that was when I thought about wrapping them. I'm Catherine James, and I'm here today wrapping books. My project is called Women's Ownership of Tudor and Stuart Medical Knowledge. This is a medical institution, and it is a medical institution that has not included women's names in its catalogue. This is a problem of catalogues the world over. But in order to restore those names, I think that there is something powerful about it being a doctor that has done the work to put those names back. The library itself has got 14,707 bound volumes, and roughly 6,800 of these were published in the period that we're looking at, and I have examined all of those. I found that 1,977 of the books had evidence related to provenance. So someone had written their name in or on the book, or put a book plate or something in them which gave me a clue who they were. But only 45 of those books have women's names in, so really quite a small number. There are also another approximately 2,600 books that were given to the library by a woman called Grace Pierpont. The library is called the Dorchester Library after Grace's father, Lord Dorchester, and the college history is that Lord Dorchester donated his book collection to the college after the college's library was decimated by the Great Fire of London. And in fact, one of the earlier findings from my research was that he didn't actually do that. He gave his books to his daughter, and she then later donated them to the college, but only after insisting that they built bookcases to her specifications. So she was only prepared to hand them over if they built a suitable library for them. But she disappears from the story around the 19th century, so I want to put her back in, as well as those other 45 women. It's a simple but daunting task, and I start at the beginning, I work my way through. You take one book down at a time and look through all the pages. The reason for looking through all the pages is that some people write their names at the beginning of the book, but if you just look at the front matter and the title page, you'll miss all of the detail from how people use their books that you find as you go through it. And actually I found some names in the middle of the books and some names at the back, so I would miss that if I didn't look at all of them. We're aiming to wrap 1,779 books. Each of the books is an individual historic object, and making any sort of intervention in that space is challenging from a materials point of view, from the point of view of making sure that the books are looked after properly, but also from the point of view of the organisation. It's a really important room for the college. They use it for ceremonial functions. They rent the space out. It's a massive source of income. We're taking the downstairs space because that's the space that visitors see, and it's the space that people that work here see most. So I suppose it's like a giant data visualization in the library. They're taken and used by individual scholars, but their main function is en bloc as a thing, as a sort of furniture, as part of the room. But that's not how they were originally used. They were originally handled, and they were designed to be handled. And it's meant that more people that work here or that volunteer here have been able to engage with those individual books. And it gives a way of quantifying the labour. So we are working out how long it's taking. We are keeping a tally of how many volunteers it's taking, just to quantify and to give an idea of the scale of the labour that is involved in handling this number of books, because that, of course, is representative of the scale of those women's contributions. And there are lots of things to think about from that. It's quite frustrating that women doctors have to come and do the work to restore their place, but it's also quite powerful as well. So I have a vested interest as a woman doctor to seeing women's contribution to the history of medicine properly acknowledged and recorded.